I just want to make it clear that I am not here talking on behalf of the La Mesa Chamber, or have I been asked to speak on behalf of the Chamber, but I'm here as a taxpayer. And in full disclosure, I have been deeply involved in the operational side of the large beer garden, including preparing the budgets and post-event P&Ls for 7 years. This year's event is a new and different activity for the village merchants. In their entire history, they have never managed a big beer garden, or have they had to pay 100% of cost recovery. Even with a partner that helped pay last year's invoice, they couldn't come up with the money. It boggles my mind how staff could arrive at any recommendation without first seeing both last year's P&L and this year's projected budget, since this year will include a large beer garden, an event they've never run. While it is not normal for the city to ask for this information, it is within your purview to do so, and one would think, given the fact the merchants did not pay their cost recovery bill for 2014 or the car show bill prior to that, nor pay the cost recovery bill for the Oktoberfest post-event, that they would, even though they had the majority of the funds, is more than enough reason to require the maximum amount of diligence with this year's permit. I've got a handout that I've given you, which is the my estimate of what the P&L is probably going to look like this year, since they didn't provide you with one. So if you would please look at your handout with the Oktoberfest analysis. The 2013 tax return, which is available online to anybody who wants to find it, those are their actual numbers that they reported. 204,000 of revenues, 144,000 of expenses, which one would assume included the 37,248 of cost recovery, which would have been their share. Since they didn't provide the 2014 P&L, we'll just assume that it was the same, except they had an additional minimum $10,000 of revenue from 4th and La Mesa, which was given up by the Chamber to them, plus the Chamber paid them $30,000 towards the cost recovery. They said they made $28,000, or at least they indicated that, because they said they spent $28,000 on Christmas in the village. So let's assume that was their net income, including not paying the remaining $34,000 of the cost recovery bill that was outstanding. If we back into that and take the $30,000 plus the $214 for total revenue, subtract out the paid portion of the cost recovery, and subtract out the $28,000 net profit, that means that they would have spent about $165,000 to run the event. Now, I know that they said that costs were higher in 14 and 13, but that's a significant amount. Their attorney said what was so unprecedented. Well, I'd say that's pretty unprecedented to go that kind of increase in expenses for the event. Now, I know that they had a new person helping out. Maybe that's where the cost went to. I don't know. But then we can look at my estimate of this year's pro forma. Now, their permit called for 100 vendor booths and 30 food booths. The staff report says 150 vendor booths and 25 food booths. So we'll assume $500 per booth for 150 booths and $2,000 a food booth for 25 booths. That's $75,000 and $50,000. Let's assume they make $20,000 in the small beer garden, and I know what the big beer garden runs. And unless you've got a lot of sponsors and you have a lot of discounts from your vendors, I don't think they're going to make more than $20,000, because they're paying twice as much for their beer as we did, as the Chamber did. And I know that the amount of additional revenues we generated, so if they make $20,000, they'll be lucky. So that gives them $165,000 potential revenues, barring any sponsorships that they may get.
Mr. Smyle, giving you an extra minute as well. Can you summarize?
Sure. So using the cost recovery bill for this year, plus the past due that's still owed, reducing their expenses by $45,000, they're still going to lose $50,000. So the city, like every other vendor in this event, should take all their money up front as a deposit, 100%, and let the people who put on the event be the ones left holding the bag. So maybe Mr. Hancock and Mr. Vigil should be the last ones to get paid. Maybe some of the other vendors should be the last ones to pay. You guys should be the first ones to get paid. Otherwise, you're going to get left holding the bag again. So I don't care if they have this event, as far as I'm not for or against them putting on the event. That's not my issue. My issue is my tax dollars being protected. And so I would recommend that you, if you do approve them to go forward, take all your money up front. Otherwise, you may never see it. Any questions?
Thank you.